I feel like they probably wouldn't like me saying this, but the academic institutions that you're going to, their responsibility is to help you matriculate through the coursework and achieve something at the end. What's up, everyone? Markel here. And college is a pretty tough time. I remember my days very fondly and also not so fondly. As of late, I started thinking about it more because my nephew is just started at Purdue University, where I went. So I thought I'd share some tips that could help you along the way of your journey, or if you know somebody, maybe you could relay this to them to help them on their journey. And I also have to relay this to my nephew. Note to self, do that. Tip number one, don't conform. I remember when I started in school, it was this idea of a 4-year university, which means I should be done in 4 years, right? Well, at Purdue, they have this superstition that if you walk underneath the bell tower, you won't graduate in 4 years. I didn't believe in that superstition, and so I walked under the bell tower. I also graduated in 5 years. Once I graduated, nobody really cared, right? So the idea here is don't conform, and also with that, don't let expectation or societal norms, as it may be, define what you should do or ought to do. So if it takes you 5 years, that's all right. If it takes you 6 years, that's all right. Also, if you change majors, that's all right. I think another problem I have is, or major qualm I have, especially within engineering, is this idea of engineering dropouts. You were 17 or 18 and you picked a college major, like in this case engineering, and then you go through a semester or two and you say, this doesn't actually interest me, or this is harder than I thought, and for that reason, I'm out. Depending on the exact rationale and the exact interest that you have, that actually may be a great decision. And so I don't think that changing majors or dropping out of engineering should even be called like dropping out. It's like a switch or a transition to something that better appeals to you. You're not obligated to stick with it, but I do implore you to not just give up because maybe one class or two classes are difficult. So to recap, don't conform. Don't feel like you have to do 4 years, and don't feel like you have to stay with a specific major. Give it a shot, push through. Don't feel obligated to go all the way through a program and despise it. But it still could be good. So tread lightly. Number two, ask. Ask questions, ask for help, ask anything and everything you can. What's so funny is asking, I think to this day, is probably the most important skill, or really just like the ability to frame questions is like the most important and valuable skill that I've noticed, especially for engineers. The ability to inquire about something to gain a greater understanding is actually profound in and of itself. It's basically saying, I lack knowledge in something right here. Can you fill in this gap? And what you'll find, not only in the classroom or outside of the classroom, or maybe at an internship or probably at your job, definitely at your job, is that most people don't like asking questions because it implies this idea that they don't know or they lack knowledge. And that's not a bad thing. I think it's unfair or irrational to think that we're just supposed to know all of these things really just like on our own in a vacuum somewhere. So ask questions. And you've heard it before, like someone else probably has that question. Not probably, someone definitely has that question. By you asking it, you're actually taking that initiative and developing yourself to be that person to inquire. And that person is actually the one who really excels in a lot of ways. So ask questions inside the classroom and outside the classroom. And when I say outside the classroom, that goes to my next point. Make requests to really the faculty and staff. Really kind of put out what you want to do and where you're trying to go. So if you want to intern at an automotive company, you got to say it. And when you say it to somebody, specifically someone with influence or power, like somebody in faculty and staff, when you say it to them, they may be able to be that champion or advocate that can connect you to that opportunity. It's like the expression, closed mouths don't get fed. Same thing. Like you have to kind of put yourself out there and say, hey, I'm interested in XYZ. Can you help me? They may not know how to help you, and you may not know how to get help from them, but by throwing it out there, you kind of allow something to potentially happen. I want to encourage this idea of making the faculty and staff work for you. I feel like they probably wouldn't like me saying this, but the academic institutions that you're going to, their responsibility is to help you matriculate through the coursework and achieve something at the end. And the more you can achieve, like within the domain and the greater you can be outside of the classroom, the better they feel, but also the better the school looks. So if you go there and you're not able to like be the best that you can be or achieve to the levels that you really think you should be able to achieve, it's kind of on them too. Put the ownership on you to take the initial step and say, hey, I want you to help me get to this place. And if they're not willing to help, find somebody else. And keep bouncing around to professors or counselors or whoever, but don't settle on somebody blocking your story or your progress. Number 4, relationships are bi-directional. Keep that in mind. So what I mean by that is be a great friend, but also have great friends around you. I think you probably have to do the former and then the latter will occur, meaning be that person that people want to be around. So encourage everyone to study, encourage like healthy habits and everything like that. What you'll find is that like you'll kind of have friends gravitate towards you who are also interested in those like higher learning objectives. So for me, I was super lucky. I had some friends in school that even though we had different majors, I did electrical, one did aero, one did mechanical, and another did chemical engineering. Even though we were like spread apart, we always kind of like found each other every once in a while to either encourage each other by saying, yo, stick in there, man, or to challenge each other. Like I had a friend and he would like get 90-something% on an engineering exam and be frustrated afterwards. And then I would get like a 60% and actually feel pretty good about myself. But he set the bar so high, I was like, okay, like I can't get hype over the 60%. Like he's over here getting 90s and higher. I have to like strive higher myself. Use those relationships as friendly competition. Don't think of it as competition where only one person can excel or only a couple people can like get on the board. Think of it more as like a friendly competition to push the other person to get to the next level. If one person gets an internship, that lets you know it's possible. So go get you one. It's not this mutually exclusive matter of success, rather something that everyone can attain. And if there's not enough seats at the table, I think it's time for a bigger table. All right, so hopefully that helps you. These are just a couple of the things that I came up with off the bat. I'll continue thinking of more. And if you have any other questions as it relates to this subject, throw them in the comments. If you found this useful, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more content like this, feel free to subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.